Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Wilson, during your confirmation hearing, I asked you for your attention on continuing contamination issues with water supplies across the U.S. The Air Force, including the Air National Guard, is dealing with contamination as a result of perfluorinated chemicals, PFCs, expelled by firefighting units on these bases. There are 2 known sites in New York, one at the 106th on Gabreski and one on the 105th in Newburgh. Until recently, coordination seemed to be moving forward at Gabreski, though not in Newburgh, though I understand that cooperation has now ceased. My staff was briefed that all mitigation work and negotiations on cooperative agreements have ceased because the Air Force is assessing whether it has the authorities to pay for any mitigation or cleanup on non-federal land. Are you aware of this issue? And my staff was told that there should be a determination by early summer.
Senator, I am aware that the Defense Department is looking at this across all of the services and all of our installations. I think the Air Force was a little bit out in front of others and saying, all right, do we have a problem? Do we have an issue at any of our bases? So we've done more assessment than perhaps the other services had. I know that the Office of the Secretary of Defense is looking at this both with respect to particular bases, but also more generally with respect to how we move forward on any cleanup.
And can I have your commitment that you'll work with my staff to make sure that if you do need additional authorities, we put that in the NDAA so that you have the authorities you need?
Yes.
And will you commit with my office to work with the relevant local authorities to address any adverse consequences resulting from the negotiations that were ongoing at Gabreski?
We will. I would say that this has now become something that the Office of the Secretary of Defense installations environment folks are also involved in, as well as their general counsel. So we are just one piece of the force on that.
Thank you. General Goldfein, I watched the news last night about a leaked memorandum concerning breaches by Russia into our electoral infrastructure. And the nature of that was about a hack into a vendor who does perhaps voter registration. I've been talking a lot about the role of our military and particularly the role of our National Guard and how we increase our cyber capabilities by using the National Guard specifically, since you're going to have experts within the National Guard who work in the cyber field as part of their day jobs. Can you imagine any function where we can use the National Guard particularly to serve as a conduit between state, local, and federal government, as well as the private sector, because of their unique abilities? And one such area is perhaps a way to work with the states to certify that our elections are cyber protected, because obviously the best cyber personnel we have, many of them are within the armed services and as part of the Guard.
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, you'll see that as we're building up our 39 cyber mission teams, a significant part of that is from our Guard and Reserve. There are title authorities that we've got to work our way through in terms of when you're serving in a Title 10 status, active duty, or Title 32 status, so working in the states. But what we've found, especially in the cyber business, is where we can really leverage industry, and especially young men and women who are working in the cyber business in a civilian capacity that can then also do part-time work with the military and a Guard and Reserve is a powerful combination, and so we're leveraging that very heavily.
If you need any additional authorities or have any concerns about retention, keeping the best people at Cyber Command, please advise this committee, because we would like to make sure you have access to all the cyber warriors you need for all of these functions moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any obstacles that you see now for having the cyber force that you need?
No, I think our biggest challenge is that we have got to balance the talent between that which serves under General or Admiral Rogers in his responsibilities as the Cybercom commander, that which we require to be able to protect our cyber vulnerabilities and ensure that we can operate to do the missions I described for you in our opening statement, and that which has to serve the combatant commanders who've got cyber equities built into their campaign plans. We're building this force right now at the same time, and so we're having to now, as we build this capability, ensure that we fill all 3 of those bins simultaneously. So it's just going to take some time, and we're llooking for all kinds of creative ways to be able to build them the fastest we can.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.